Well, hello, good morning, buenos dias, bonjour. Thank you, everybody, for being here at Thursdays at the Daily Huddle, Spiritual Matters. I'm your host, Dr. Monikah Ogando, and I am excited to be with you today. We are starting a new series as we are winding down the summer and coming back to the fall. Last year, I had to give you some pre-recorded stuff because I was off and away to Egypt. This year, we are not going to Egypt. And so I will be here live for the remainder of the year. However, in order to properly, darling, set us up for this new series that we're doing, I want to talk to you about the power and the cycle of manifestation. How do you actually go about creating the goals that you desire to create in your life? We're going to talk about that today in the Daily Huddle. Welcome. Yes. I have a quote for you, albeit belated. I was supposed to do it before the drums, but listen. Anne Bradstreet says, if we had no winter, the spring would not be so pleasant. If we did not taste adversity, prosperity would not be so welcome. And that is the power not only of contrast, but of honoring the cycles that we go through in our different stages of life. And so in order for us to have that discussion, let's get grounded. Let's get centered. Let's get present. Let me see who's here. Oh, my friend Robin is here. Robin, how are you? And what are you thankful for?
Dr. O, I am exactly the way I say I am. And today I am beyond. I am beyond amazing. How am I? And what was the second part?
And what are you grateful for?
Oh, right there. Lungs work and there's oxygen to feed them. And do you realize that every molecule of that oxygen feeds every cell of your body down to the tiniest cells in your eyes just by doing that automatically? I'm grateful for that. Let's realize how amazing that is.
Ashe, I love that. Yes, thank you for that reminder. Absolutely. Rashida, where are you? And who are you hugging today?
Oh, where I am. Good morning, family Dailyhood. I am right here where I supposed to be and where I love to be with you all guys, sharing my space and sharing your space with me. And who I'm going to hug today, I already hugged my tree when I walked my 3-mile trail. I already did a whole lot of hugging of tree. And I'm going to hug a friend that I'm taking to the doctor later on.
Nice. We've gotten our tree hugging out of the way early in the morning. I love it. I am so happy that we have tree huggers on the line. I want to talk to you today about the 8 phases of manifestation. We'll start with the first 4, right? Because it's I don't want to talk so fast that we miss it, and I want to leave some time for our discussions as well. So we're going to talk about the first 4 seasons of manifestation, and then next week we'll talk about the second 4 seasons of manifestation. But let me draw you a picture so you understand where we're going with this, okay? Imagine if you have a pen and paper, maybe you can draw this right there at your notebook, but imagine a clock, right? So you draw a circle, and at the very, very top, you have 12 o'clock, right? Like 12 noon. And at the bottom, you have 6 o'clock, like 6 p.m., right? And then across the middle, then you have the 3 o'clock position and the 9 o'clock position. Are you with me? You tracking? Okay. So at high noon, right? That is when there are no shadows, right? The sun is at its peak and it is strong. If you were to associate it with the seasons of the year, that would be the summer solstice, right? And the summer solstice, at the longest day of the year, is when we have the most light and the least darkness. We don't have shadows, and it's really, really hot and heavy and busy, at least in nature. Like the earth is bubbling with life and things are harvesting. The blossoming has already been done. It's in full bloom, right? And from that 12 o'clock position, as it wanes, that's why we have the word waning moon for the lunar cycles. That's another sermon for another Sunday. But when it comes down, then at the 3 o'clock position, then that's, the sun's still hot. Don't get me wrong. It's still hot at 3 o'clock, but now it's coming down, right? It's coming down. And at the 6 o'clock position, although this doesn't make sense like sun-wise, right? I'm just giving you the big picture in terms of like the contrast. So if the sun is at its highest at the 12 o'clock position, at the summer solstice position, then the opposite is the winter solstice position. And that's when the sun is at its weakest, right? It's when you have the longest night and the shortest day, in contrast to the longest day and the shortest night. Yeah. And so then from that winter solstice, then the sun begins to rise again. Yeah. And maybe you're already catching on to some of the metaphysics and the symbology that you have in certain major religions. Because then when the sun rises again, we celebrate that, and it culminates in Easter around the spring equinox. And almost all of these religious traditions have been taken from solar and lunar traditions that came before them, right? And so what does this have to do with your manifestation? If you align yourself with the cycles of the planet you inhabit, maybe you could go with nature instead of against it, and you can have an easier time of it. And it can flow, and you don't have to feel like you're white knuckling it up a mountain and forcing things. Because I think sometimes when we don't understand the cycle of something, then we get frustrated. We think that we're not seeing progress fast enough, and we get frustrated with some seeming delays and seeming obstructions and so forth. If you thought, for example, that when you get pregnant and you have a baby, the baby's just supposed to be all roses and amazing googie eyes, and then when the diaper change comes, you're going to be freaked out. You're going to be like, oh, I was not expecting this. And why does it smell like this? And why is he crying? Why is he so inconsolable? You have to understand the ups and the downs of what you're dealing with in order for you to not only equip yourself for it, but handle it proactively, right? So let's talk about the first 4 phases of manifestation. Let's think about the fall equinox, which is, if you come back to this clock, at the high noon position is summer. At the 3 o'clock position is the fall equinox. And the reason we call it equinoxes is because they're equidistant from the north and the south, right? And then up at the 6 o'clock position, then you have the winter solstice. And we call it solstice because it is a solar position. Then at the 9 o'clock position, then you have the spring equinox, and then we're back to the summer, okay? At the fall equinox in September, when the sun is really in full descent to the lowest point at the winter, is when you're already done with the harvest. You've already put those things away. The preserve jars have already been done. You've cured the meats, you've put the fruits and grains and so forth where they need to be. And now it's time to hunker down for the winter, right? From an agricultural nature, seasonal perspective in this way, right? You're putting all the summer clothes away. You're bringing out all the sweaters and the cute coats and things like that. But from a manifestation perspective, this is when the seed for the next harvest begins to take shape. What is the objective? The first step in manifestation is to get clear, and goal setting and goal achievement is to get clear about what it is, not the how yet. Because a lot of times we do not give ourselves permission to even dream of the what if we don't have a how. It's not time for the how yet. See, and if you understand these seasons, if you understand these cycles, then you will give yourself permission to think about that later. So first, we have to get clear on the what. What is the goal? What is the objective? What do you want to manifest in the next 12 months, in the next quarter, et cetera, et cetera? Okay. From a yearly position, that corresponds to from the fall equinox to about November 4th, like late fall. And so when you get clear about that goal, then you want to infuse your commitment and your conviction about that goal with the into your subconscious, into your emotional self. If you've been here in the Daily Huddle Thursday Spiritual Matters, then you have heard me speak about the sacred, divine marriage, if you will, between thought and feeling, creating a result, creating an action, right? And so the what, if you can think of it this way, the what, and being clear about that objective, is the seed, is the pattern, is the, right? And then it goes into the womb, if you will, the feeling nature of your subconscious. So you get clear on that thought, and then you plant it in your subconscious, imbuing it with emotion, getting excited about it, getting excited about what it looks like and what it means, and setting your imagination on fire, as it were, to clarify what that goal, when it's in its manifested form, what it's going to look like. If you think about it from the perspective of a couple that gets pregnant and they very much want the baby, they've been dreaming about the baby, they want to start a family. That's the exactitude of the goal, right? So when they finally get pregnant, they get very excited. So it follows that pattern, right? The third phase of manifestation or of goal achievement, now that you're clear on the what, and you've gotten your emotional and your subconscious being around it, now you have to clear the debris. Because how many of us know that when you get clear on a particular goal in a particular direction and you get all excited about it, here comes the yeah buts, right? Here comes that, you're not going to do that. That's too much. That's not enough time. We don't have enough money, and you're too old, and this is too lofty, and all the yeah buts start coming up. So you're going to have to start clearing those. You're going to have to start diminishing those. You're going to have to start melting them, as it were. And that is the work that happens in the clearing phase. That's supposed to happen. See, sometimes we get the yeah buts and you think, oh, then that means I should stop. No, this is just you clearing the weeds from the garden. You've already planted the seed. Don't stop now. Continue to water it, which is what happens in the planting phase, right? Continue to water it. But as the weeds come up, clear that crap out. That's the point. You don't stop. You don't let the weeds take over, for God's sake, right? So once you've done that, then the next phase for manifestation, again, getting very clear about the goal, planting it in your subconscious and your emotional mind, and clearing all the weeds out. Now you start getting ideas about the how. When you start imagining the finished product, as it were, or the outcome, then it's like, oh, it could look this way. I could do this, and I can call this person, and we can launch it this way, and we can send these many emails, and we can apply for this funding, and we can get so-and-so involved, and we can get this sponsor, and we can get this venue. And you start getting ideas, you start gathering. It's like when you decide that you're going to make lasagna, you look in the pantry and like, let me see, do I have the pasta? Do I have the ricotta cheese? Do I have, right? So you're like gathering all of the ingredients required for the successful completion of this objective. And those are the first four phases, if you will, of manifestation. We're going to talk about the next four next time. But just with starting those four, can you see how some people stop halfway and some people don't complete because somewhere in there, they either get frustrated or discouraged or interrupted? Has that ever happened to you? Has it ever happened to you that you are on your way to produce an amazing goal or an amazing objective where you're really excited about something, and then the yeah buts drown it out? Or when it's time to gather your ingredients, you're like, I ain't got nothing in the pantry. I gotta go grocery shopping. I didn't know it was time to gather. So the gathering phase caught you unawares, right? So let's talk about it. I want to open up the discussion now for talking about what is the goal that you've had recently that now looking back on it, you're like, oh, that's what happened. I let the butts get in the way. Or, oh, that's what happened. I didn't gather my ingredients. Or, oh, that's what happened. I wasn't clear on the what. Or maybe you're like, oh, that's what happened. I didn't plant it in my subconscious like that. I wasn't really committed. It was like a nice idea, but I wasn't really in it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about where you were with, pick a goal that you had recently, and let's talk about how you did with these first 4 phases of manifestation.
Good morning. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? It's fun that thank you so much, Dr. Ogando, for picking the topic and having me get more clarification on the goal that I still on the goal. I started my journey with a girlfriend of mine 12 days ago, and she quit 3 days ago. So that was she didn't have it clear. So now I know what happened. And yesterday I almost started to be like, oh no, I don't want to do this anymore. And Spirit said, yes, you're going to finish. And what it is that I'm at colon cleansing right now for 3 weeks. So my girlfriend, she said, oh, I can't do it anymore. I can't do it. Can we start all over again? I said, no, I'm in the middle of it. I am not going to quit. And she just jumped on a bus and she said, I got to go. I said, okay, no problem. So she texted me yesterday, she said, are you still doing? I said, yes, I have a goal. My goal that I have encountered with really determined is to go back to my 140 pounds. And I was 195. So I am there. I am getting there. I'm 150, and I'm so happy that I stick to the goal. And I have to finish because this is something that I have set in my subconscious mind. That is my point. So right now I have 10 pounds more to go and a week more to go on my colon cleansing. So hoorah, I am getting there. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Congratulations on that progress. That's awesome.
Thank you so much.
That's great. Who else has something?
Mine aren't the what ifs. Mine are the what the Fs. Like,
yes.
I can navigate it all great as long as everybody will just leave me the heck alone, right? So
that's a great point.
Having so many planets orbiting my sphere, if they're all perfectly synced and everything works well, then yeah, rocking and rolling, manifesting, putting it together. This is the vision. This is what we're doing. This is where we're going. But usually we get to, yeah, this is the vision. This is what we're doing. Okay, hold on a second. Let's deal with this issue over here, right? And then, okay, we're back on track. We're getting it going. And there's just unavoidable interactions that come in. And so my biggest focus can't be, oh, that's the end game. My biggest focus is stay on track, stay on track, stay on track, right? You'll get there, but stay on track. And again, unavoidable things hit you. The storm this morning in Atlanta, right? My wife usually drives herself to work every morning, and guess what? She can't drive when it's pouring rain and that dark out. So we had to adjust and overcome some things there. And here we are. But then I had something bail on me where I was supposed to be somewhere else. And the guy said, you don't have to be there. So I'm back on track. Click, 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 click. I had an extra 30 minutes to come hang out with you guys while I'm working on it at the same time. So, you're just staying on track. The unavoidable interruptions you can't do anything about, but you can't let them side rail you and keep you there. You got to keep back on track. That's where my 2 cents would be.
That's awesome. Thank you, Robin. And you bring up a great point. It's really easy to produce something in my own mind, but then when it's time to bring it out into the real world, and I have the people, and there's competing agenda, and there's other things that are coming up, then it's like, oh Lord, and now I got even more balls to juggle, so to speak. But this is a great, great, great introduction to the purpose of the yeah buts, they're not just obstacles. They're not just inconveniences. This isn't a glitch in the matrix. This is supposed to come up to reveal to you the secret competing agenda that you yourself have, that you haven't admitted to yourself. And the only way you can see them is if they're outside of you, because you don't see them inside of you, right? It's like how I always say, you can never move your head fast enough to see your own ears. You're going to have to stand in front of a reflection, either somebody else or a mirror, in order to see it.
The good line.
And so when you can see that, it's like, oh, here I am with the competing agenda of I'm a problem solver. What do problem solvers need in order to justify their existence? Problems. What does a warrior, I'm a warrior, I'm gonna get it done, dude. What does a warrior need? War, right? And so when I can see some of these stuff coming at me, it's like, who do I say that I am such that this is in front of me? And then that's something that I can take and I can pluck off of my consciousness, because now it's conscious. But it's in the subconscious, just like Carl Jung said, if you don't make the unconscious conscious, it'll drive your life and you'll think it's fate. And so that's the whole point of the yeah buts, is to make the unconscious conscious so you can do something about it. So I love that you brought that up, Robin. Gio, you have something? Your hand up.
Yeah, I got lost somewhere on the something you were saying about taking the weeds out.
Yes.
Could you say more about that again?
Yeah, once you've gotten clear on the objective, and you've planted it into your feeling mind, into the womb of your consciousness, the things that are its opposite will start popping up. The obstacles, the yeah buts, the you can't do it, you're too fat, you're too old, you're too short, you're too this, you're too busy, you don't have time, you can't afford it, blah, blah, blah. All those obstacles, all those interruptions will pop up to derail you. Those are the weeds, yeah. And so the job, what happens sometimes is that when we see the weeds, we're like, oh, it must not be meant to be. Oh, well, everything happens for a reason, right? But the weeds aren't there to stop you from the goal. The weeds are there to chisel you towards it. It's a different purpose, right? And so the contrast is a teaching device. It's not a derailment.
Yeah, and I just want to feel, G, if you don't mind, I just want to feel one more taste to that. I'm in the process of finishing this book, and I've had so many delays driving me crazy getting it done. And I'm thinking that they're delays, and I'm yanking the weeds left and right, like, come on, let's get through this. And then all of a sudden you come across this nugget that was attached to the roots of one of those weeds, and you're like, oh,
I needed that.
I had to see that to get where I was going. I've been frustrated and freaking out about printing the book, and all these unknowns about it were really, like you said, they're in my head. They're eating away at me. Like, how are you going to do this? Where are you going to get this money from? Because it's going to cost so much. And I heard a comment in a conversation last week, and I went and looked at all the information and priced out everything. And I went, oh, it's not going to cost me anywhere near what I thought. And I don't have to have it printed in China, and I can get it printed in the United States, and it's going to be quality, and it's going to be just the way I want it, and it's going to be delivered really quickly. And I'm like, oh, that's why I've had all these delays and all these problems, because I didn't have that piece of information first, right? So that's exactly where you're going with this, is you got to get it out there, but don't be overwhelmed by the delays sometimes, because there's something that you're missing. And when that piece comes, there it is. So that was perfect lead in. Thank you.
Yeah. Yes, Gio.
So I wanted to get another angle at how my internal chatter of the yeah buts, of the weeds. I wanted to get another angle from you on seeing it as a good, you said, like, all of those weeds, all of those yeah buts are a good, they're there to support the goal you want, or support where I want to go, or it can be seen that way. The weeds of Yeah, but I've never done it before, or every time I put that goal, I failed at it anyway, or it's some version of yeah, I'm not tall enough or smart enough or confident enough, or I don't have the resources.
Hmm.
Uh, could you say a little bit more of how maybe that weed, maybe that internal talk is actually helping or could actually help?
Sure, absolutely. Because if you, let's use one that you just mentioned as an example. If I said to myself, I want to get I'll use my own experience. I want to get a PhD in comparative religions. I've never done that before. Right. And if the yeah, but is like, you've never done that before, you already have a degree. What are you doing? Like, how many more degrees do you need, Lord? You know? And so but I would have to get past that. I would have to overcome that conversation in order to get to the goal. If I let that yeah, but stop me, then I couldn't get to the goal. And it's a little bit like a tennis match. You're a tennis person. If there's not somebody across the net, we don't have a game. Right? You have to have somebody volleying the thing back in order for you to be able to be in your glory as a tennis player. And so in the same way, those yeah buts are there to get you to move through the resistance, the internal resistance that you have so that you can get to the goal. If you will not get to that resistance or transcend that resistance, you will not get to the goal.
So that where coaching will come into place. Like if I'm playing against a tennis player that always beats me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, how will you get
I
better?
don't want to play anymore against that guy, right? I'm never going to win on my goal. And that's a metaphor for the goal. If every time I set up a goal for myself and I never make it, it's like the tennis player that always beats me. So I've got to allow myself to get the coach, right? To help me to see something differently.
Right. Yes. And get better skills and get, understand his psychology, anticipate that, et cetera. It's like, oh, that's why that's here. Oh, that's why he does it that way. Oh, and then you get all these,
Like
illumination moments, right? It's like, oh, I didn't have it
like
that way. And you have your own reframe.
One of the goals that I failed miserably in my life is to exercise every morning. And so I've had that goal for 20 years. And I've achieved other really cool goals, but this one, that tennis player is beating me every single time. And and it's not that I am resigned and cynical, but the chatter is there all the time.
Sure.
And so what I'm seeing is I can't give up on getting a coach, because the way I'm playing this player is the same way every time.
Right.
And whether I've had different coaches, et cetera, et cetera. So what I'm discovering this conversation is I've got to get a different coach. I've got to continue to do that, because it is just about finding the weakness of that other player. I'm seeing the whole thing as a tennis match, really, actually. That was a really great example for me, because I have beaten people that I've never in my lifetime thought I could beat. And it was always been a little adjustment. It's been a little thing that gets in their head. And so now I can see for myself, like, oh man, I got a tennis player on the other side. This is kind of cool.
This is one of the reasons why I use the word, you've heard people talking about, oh, I've made a quantum leap. And you think that when they say quantum leap, that it's this huge thing, like they just jumped from Mount Kilimanjaro to Mount Everest or something, like the distance is amazing, right? That's not a quantum. If you do your research, if you Google the definition of quantum in physics, a quantum is the smallest. It's not even an atom. It's smaller than an atom. It's those nuances, it's those tweaks that you're talking about, Gio, that allow you to then shift the entire fulcrum of the destination of where you're going, because you made that little tweak. One last commentary from Chase. Before we head out.
Sorry about the noise. I'm on the train. I just have a question for Gia. Gio, the guy that you play tennis all the time, that beats you every time. Have you ever seen yourself beating him in your mind? Ever? On any game ever? Have you ever seen yourself beating him? Have you ever visualized that?
I don't think so. It's a good point.
Ah.
I don't think I've ever done that.
Just wanted to put that in your head. I know you're going to think
Yeah,
about it.
that's cool. Yeah, I'm gonna take that on.
Thanks. That's all I have.
Thank you, Steele.
That's awesome, Chase. That's
That was a
awesome.
quantum leap right there.
Yeah. So listen, you guys, we have more of this coming up this Saturday for the Daily Huddle event in real life, like for real, for real. FR. We are meeting in person. We are finally coming back outside. And you can go to thedailyhuddleevent.com and register, put your name, email, phone number, pay your $27, get yourself hooked up so that come Saturday, you will be with the Daily Huddle podcast hosts. Gio won't be there, unfortunately. However, Sorel will be there. I will be there. Tara and why are you shaking your head, Robin? I thought you said
No, Gio, it's not worth it. Not worth it.
Oh, I know. We're gonna make do.
Thank you, Robin. You're awesome.
We're gonna make do.
I'd
Chase
pay
is gonna be
twice
there
the
as
price
well.
if Gio was there, but since no Gio, forget it.
Well, I'll hold
I'm
it
gonna be
for
on
you.
Zoom.
I'll hold it for you. So come out to meet us, the dailyhuddleevent.com, Saturday, August 12th, here in Atlanta. And we have people coming in, flying in to come see us. And I want you to be part of it as well. Go to the dailyhuddleevent.com and get yourself hooked up. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Remember to give of your time, energy, love, attention, love generously, laugh loudly, move your body, right? Stress less, eat more plant-based food, get at least 7 hours of sleep. And as always, check yourself before you wreck yourself. Always audit your assumptions. Thank you. See you next time.
No, keep talking.
Keep
Thank you.
talking
Hello,
because
guys.
you have to cue it up.
Thank
You
you.
have to cue it up. I have to do Next week, we're going to be talking about the next 4 phases of manifestation. And you're not going to want to miss that because it's like, okay, now that I know this, what do I do with it? Right? There's all of what we talked about today is internal shifts and internal transformation. What do you do when you actually put it out in the world? That's what we're going to be talking about next week. So again, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate you. See you at thedailyhuddleevent.com.